Well hey, it's Brandon, and did you know it's illegal to install viruses onto the devices of people who wronged me? But not for the reasons you might think. I'm gonna be laying low here for a while, so to pass the time, you'll get to listen to me talk about a specific topic.
Do you ever just play a video game and think, what I'm seeing right now is great, but then congratulations, the process has reached its early stages. Enjoy yourself as you are now, it won't be the same. Video game modding. What the hell is that? It's essentially when one takes it upon themselves to change any aspect of whatever video game they want, with the word mod being short for modification. It's kinda self-explanatory, and this change could be over pretty much anything. How things look, play, sound, it all falls under this category of a mod. Here's an example. Let's say you're playing some new Super Mario Bros. For your Wii. Then out of nowhere you get the urge to play as Sonic the Hedgehog instead of Mario. Boom. Or another example, imagine a situation in which you boot up Super Smash Bros. Brawl and think to yourself, this game is missing a substantial amount of T-Rex. Now, under normal circumstances, this would probably land you in a padded white room, but with the power of new age technology, as well as people who could stand to be outside more often, isn't that something? And there you go, there's your video game mod. Now, to someone just learning about it at this very moment, don't feel bad for your mind being blown. Yes, there are other people out there who are taking the time out of their day to make/steal assets of various quality that can be replaced over existing ones made by a company for others to then download and use themselves, ranging from stuff like music, sprites, models, levels, mechanics, and everything else. How exactly people make these kinds of mods, I have some sort of an idea, but nothing I feel too confident saying out loud lest I be corrected. Although one thing I am very sure about is that 99% of the time you'll need a computer to install them no matter what system you're playing the game on. And back about 6 years ago with my low-powered laptop that actively craved the release of death was when I first discovered this kind of logic abuse. Shit fascinated the hell out of me. You mean I can make this look like this at the price of viruses on my computer? Hell yeah, come on in. But before I could start slapping characters into games they never belonged in, or replacing soundtracks with music of much worse taste, I needed to hack my way into the console first. And by that I just mean mod the thing as well. Trust me, I know how complicated that may sound, but don't freak out, because I'm not in the mood to deal with that. And being completely honest here, it's really not that bad, just as long as there's someone else on the internet who's already figured out all the steps needed to get everything to work properly, and you have the brain power to just copy exactly what they did. So as long as you understand basic internet safety, you're golden.
Though it should be known to all with ears that Brandon does not condone the act of downloading sketchy files off the internet that could potentially damage your console, or worse, inflict upon copyright laws. Well, that's it. Surely it's not that easy.
And upon dirtying your hands from all the crimes against big-budget corporations who want you to play their games the way they intended, you can now dig this grave deeper by actually modifying the games of said consoles you just hacked, you morally voided bastard. One of the first consoles I've ever modded myself was the Nintendo Wii. There was this huge modification pack for one of the platform's most well-known games, New Super Mario Bros. That had been getting a lot of attention and was something I really wanted to try out for myself. This would end up being something called Newer Super Mario Bros. Wii. Essentially, a team of people remade the entire game with all new worlds, levels, power-ups, music, that kind of stuff, leaving almost no trace of the original game it was built upon besides the physics and some characters. Like, this could definitely be passed as just another New Super Mario Bros. Sequel to anyone who's unfamiliar with the series, and not a single eye would have been batted. I could probably talk about how great the music is, how unique the level design and themes are, how the gimmicks are really fun, how it's really good, how much I like it, but to keep it brief, just see the last two things I mentioned. However, this was only the beginning. See, now I've had a taste of what it's like to break the rules. I've evolved past the need to care about corporate feelings, so how believable would it be if I said I did it again? Starting off small with other Wii games like Mario Kart and Brawl, then branching out into other stuff like my Wii U before it stopped working not too long after for very separate reasons, to even my Switch fairly recently. I've been having a blast with it too, mainly just playing modded Mario Kart and Smash Ultimate a whole bunch. Just look at the quality of this. It's crazy how people can put these models into the game and make it look like effort was used. I couldn't tell you how many hours I've synced into trying different hacks that have been made, going back and forth to see which ones I can mix together into a mod pack, and crashing my console when I didn't install something properly. But let's say, hypothetically, you prefer older titles to the modern ones, and no one hangs out with you because of it. Well, we've got that covered for you too, in the form of ROM hacks. In case you're unaware, there, a ROM is a computer file that holds all the memory for a video game. Usually they'll be in different formats depending on the console it originated from, and ROMs are primarily used for titles that are played using cartridges. So stuff like the NES, SNES, Genesis, DS, and even the Switch. Now knowing that, a ROM hack is when someone takes said ROM and hacks it to do what they want. So it's a mod, they're pretty much the same thing. Yes, technically a mod for the Switch could be considered a ROM hack because the original games are stored on a ROM. Though the only factor that makes the Switch different is no one cares to call it that. However, when we're talking about these older titles with file sizes only rivaled by the cells in my brain, they will almost always be played using an emulator. Programs made for the purpose of playing video games on a computer instead of the consoles they were made for. They're pretty common nowadays, while sometimes being the definitive way to play these older titles that companies like Nintendo refuse to re-release, as they allow things like controller configuration, visual improvements, and better frame rates. Anyways, the reason emulators are used to play these ROM hacks is because, again, it's just easier to slap that son of a bitch into one and go from there. Is it possible to play old hacked games on consoles they originated from? Yes, though while it is impressive to see, you also kinda have to know how, in the sense of doing more than just watching a tutorial, that of which I'm not willing to do. To make the whole thing a bit clearer, the process between modding on different consoles isn't all black and white. I am just talking about the most common and convenient ways to configure these games. If you really wanted, you could modify emulated versions of Wii, Wii U, and even Switch games, however that would require a pretty powerful and expensive computer with a fair amount of storage. And on the other side of the spectrum, like I previously stated, you could play some old games with mods on their original console, but you know. So moving past all the technical stuff, we get to the actual fun part of this process. Playing these damn things. Pick up a game, install some mods, enjoy yourself. Really, there's something here for everyone. Obviously, we have the standard character swaps and music changes, but let's get a bit more interesting. I already mentioned newer Super Mario Bros., but what about other hacks that change or build upon the entire game to create a new experience? Let's see, there's Stardew Valley Expanded, which tries to build upon the original base of Stardew Valley, a farming simulator where you can be a functioning member of a small community by adding new characters, stories, dialogue, locations, events, and more. Made for those who love the original, but have already seen everything it has to offer. It is only accessible on the PC version, though if you played the original to death, then this one is definitely worth trying out. Another one I got here is Rockman 4 Minus Infinity, a hack of Mega Man 4 that changes all the levels and music, adds in new abilities, gives all the bosses different attack patterns, and throws in cameos from other parts of the series. This right here is what could be considered one of the best ROM hacks for Mega Man. The amount of time and work put into this thing really shows. A little too difficult in some areas, however, I suck at just Mega Man 4, so it's nothing I'm too unfamiliar with. You can find stuff like this for tons of video games by doing a little digging. It's like a look into the commitment people have to these titles, especially ones like Super Mario World and Mario 64. There's hundreds of this stuff made solely for those. If you want to get really specific, how about mods that attempt to fix the issues people have with certain games? Take Animal Crossing New Horizons, for example. Hate the fact that they implemented tool durability? Congratulations, you're part of the human race. Now look at this. Boom, it's gone. Or let's look at Super Smash Bros. Brawl. That was pretty controversial on the gameplay side of things. What about a mod that makes the playstyle more competitive and less 1% trippy? Oh, that already exists and it's called Project M. Wow, isn't that neat? You don't need to understand how, you just need to know they did.
Now, is a lot of this just cheating or playing the game the way companies didn't intend? Yeah, absolutely.
Are we most likely pissing them off by doing so? Well, that's just part of the fun. I mean, what are they gonna do about it? I live to spite these corporations, especially Nintendo, which is why I buy everything they sell. In all seriousness though, I believe the reason people find it so fun to make and play mods is because, big reveal, they enjoyed the base game they're made for. It's usually all done out of passion for what the game developers have created, minus the configurations that try to make it more bearable. To me, it's just great how possible this entire thing is. And I've mostly been talking about doing this on consoles. What about PC games? There's pretty much an endless amount of them you can find on websites and other platforms like Steam, all of which being just as moddable. I mean, I doubt most of the niche ones have mods, but the possibilities are still there. And if you were wondering, making stuff like this is how a lot of programmers and game designers who are now professionals in their field started out, by taking apart and messing with others' works to see how everything functions and to learn if they can do something similar. See how that all comes around the end? It's like the circle of life without the life. Alright, so now's the time to get these weights off my shoulders and confess that I was lying earlier when I said I wasn't sure how these mods are made. Don't get me wrong, there's some truth to it. However, it'd be a lie to claim I didn't participate in the act of defiling code. It wasn't something I did for a really long time, and frankly haven't done it in a while, but yeah, I used to mess around with game files, models, and textures, essentially making my own mods. And by made mods, I mean that in the most technically kind of way possible. This right here is what I would consider my best attempt at it. What you are seeing right now is New Super Mario Bros. Wii with all the characters replaced as Luigi. I have no memory of how I replaced the models, nor could I probably ever replicate it again, but all I do remember is it took me around a year to figure out, while also being one of the smartest things I have and will ever accomplish. Everything else I've done can just be summarized as taking other people's assets and either repainting them or slapping them into another game. The quality describes itself. Though as abominable as these were, I can't say I didn't have fun making them. It gave me something to do, so I can't complain. Definitely don't see myself getting back into mod making anytime soon, and even if I did, the world would never see any of my work until I can make something that reaches the standards I've managed to build up over the years, despite what people would like to believe. But moving away from the garbage bin into the quality joints they're usually behind, let's talk about the mods other people have made. More specifically, my personal favorites. Some of these I'm aware aren't the pioneers when it comes to being the most well-known or crafted, but act more as something I just enjoy. Like this one here. This is Mario is Missing Done Right by Gamma V, a ROM hack of the original Super Mario World which changes the entire game to add new worlds, levels, enemies, music, all that good stuff. Obviously, this game attempts to be a reimagining of Mario is Missing, an educational title for the same console that was shit. You play as Luigi and you gotta rescue your brother, with a bunch of references to past Mario games. We got callbacks from Super Mario Land, Mario 2, a lot of the mechanics were brought over from Mario 3, and plenty more. But when it's not looking amazing and referencing stuff, it's just looking amazing. Almost every level stands out as its own thing and doesn't feel repetitive. Overall, just good shit. The only issue I can think of off the top of my head is the fact that it can be brutally difficult after reaching World 3, but not anything you can't pass after around 5 to 45 tries. Another one here is called Sonic 2 Heroes, created by Flamewing, where you get to play through the entirety of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 with Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles simultaneously, while also having the ability to swap between them at will. Sonic gets a little bit of an upgrade too, being able to use the peel out move from Sonic CD and just being faster overall. It's a lot more fun than it sounds, trust me, like being stuck on a section of the level, then swapping to a character that can actually get through it, or seeing something like this. I just think it's great. It makes it easier to not shut off the game after reaching Metropolis Zone. Okay, this one is really good. Super Mario 64 multiplayer. So, you have the base game, right? Very fun, incredible experience. It's Mario. But one thing I've always hated was the fact that I couldn't play through it with a friend, and let me tell you, that didn't really help my motivation to get one. Well, thanks to Kaze Pronounce It Yourself, I can now do that thing I just said I couldn't. Wow, I love foreshadowing. Speaking with sincerity, however, I like this, especially the way it's set up, being split screen with player 1 controlling Mario and player 2 controlling Luigi. You both roam around the levels, playing the game as normal. It works really well. I'm actually starting to get used to this now. So this next one isn't the most mind-blowing thing ever, and that's the end of that statement. Definitely a classic here. Made by Insidious NX, it's Mario Kart Wii, but I can play as Sonic. And look at that, it even runs instead of driving a car like a fucking tool. This is just visually appealing to me for no reason, and that's all I have to say. Last one I got here is a mod for Super Smash Bros. Brawl called Super Smash Bros. Infinite, created by this name alongside a small community of people. The infinite part referring to the character roster. If you stop for a second and imagine someone you don't think would ever be in Smash, then I can assure you that they're probably in this mod. We got stuff ranging from makes sense to weird to, yep, not the best hack out there for Brawl. That still goes to Project M, but it is still fun to play, especially with friends. It gets easier by the day. Also, notice how 95% of the games I've talked about this entire time are Nintendo. I could chalk that up to just bias, but I like saying it's because their titles get hacked more than others. It's technically true, and the technicalities are convincing enough for me. But whatever you want to take the time out of your life to modify, then go do it. I'm not capable of stopping you.
Well, I've been talking for a good amount of seconds. They probably got bored of looking for me. It should be fine to step outside now. Oh boy, is that an unhacked video game console? Clearly, I have underestimated.